there a way by which you can reorganize ourselves in such a way that we are not going to have clashes?
Before we publish at all, you will have to work with departments. That was why I raised it with Prof. Sakinola. We normally will send to you, is this okay? Is this time okay? So with your webinar, as you begin to teach, the webinar automatically records your class. So we have that as a tool. That is our monitoring tools.
We have e-tutor supervisor that always monitors each activity we do online. So at the end of the semester, we will print out a template that you attach everything, all the tools you use, everything will appear. Even online, if you enter the online today, the date will appear. If it's the course that you're supposed to start maybe last month, if you are just entering today, everything will show. It's like a photo.
So if there is no netiquette, there will be what we call cyber anarchy. Anarchy, you know what it means by anarchy. Lawlessness, everybody will do what you like, you become reckless.
In this session, I'll be looking at online course delivery, netiquette, and also quality assurance. And under every program, we want to be sure that our objectives are met. The reason for which you put up a program, you want to be sure that the expectation is met. And we have put up some structures to do that. Say for preliminary, I'll just be talking about netiquette. I'm very sure we know what it means. Please, anybody who has an idea of what that means? Netiquette, yes, ma. Now, before you eat my, what do they call it, tanjalo? I beg, stand up, tell us.
It's just like with etiquette. You know that there are rules and regulations guiding relationship or interactions. So netiquette is the one guiding online interactions and facilitation. Thank you.
Please, shall we give her a round of applause? Thank you. Netiquette is a combination of two words, net and etiquette. Etiquette is the normal thing, that rules that apply to relationships, communications, and interactions. Acceptable behavior that is acceptable. You know, behavior that is acceptable in human interaction. We know that. Yes. But as we refer, what we're referring to now, the net has to talk about the internet. That is, what's acceptable behavior? What can we consider as acceptable behavior online? What is acceptable and what is not acceptable? And I'd like to give you an example. Last week, I was in a class, but I was very hungry. So I was eating the normal way I eat when I'm hungry, when nobody is there. All of us do it. We just, shum. I didn't, video was on. It was later on I found out my video was on. I was embarrassed, thoroughly embarrassed in my own very room. But my own is better than what happened to a man. He went to the toilet and his video was on. So you can imagine what happened. So there are some behaviors that are acceptable while we're online and some that are not acceptable. So netiquette, like we said, netiquette is internet etiquette. It's a set of guidelines for how to behave in an online environment. An ideal pattern of behavior for internet users, or guidelines about what is acceptable in an online medium for personal and professional use. So why? Why should, just like any society, what are the rules that govern interaction in any society? So why? For order to exist, for there to be order in any society, we have rules that govern that society. So, why netiquette? In order to create a pleasant and efficient online environment, culture, and communication. Let's take, for example, in a classroom, like you were making noise before. Professor KOK wants to listen. Professor Ahmed wants to listen. But Adeji does not want to learn. So she's making noise. We should bundle her out of that class because she's a distraction. So some people will be able to learn, some people will not be able to learn. The people who are making noise will be disturbing people who are serious. So in order to keep an environment like that, there has to be ground rules. How do we operate? How do you make sure that you can control your class? And that is why when you are on some of those collaborative tools, whosoever is the administrator has power to mute you, block you, in order to control your class. So in order to have an online environment, remember that in this environment, what is happening is learning. We want people to learn or to acquire any form of skill. So there has to be decorum. And it is for this reason that we have rules that guide how we interact in an environment, online environment. Thank you. I tell people, I say, even the mind is a place. Because at the back of some people's mind, because they are not in a physical classroom, surrounded by four walls, it is not a place. Even in your mind is a place. From your mind, you can go anywhere you want to go to. The same thing applies to a virtual environment. It is a place where you can sell, you can buy, you can love, you can sleep with people in your mind, you can do anything in your mind. In a virtual environment, different things can happen too. But majorly learning, and because it is learning taking place, everybody will have to work together, cooperate, based on the rules that have been provided to guide it. Thank you very much. Thank you. So to help people to communicate more effectively while online and to avoid unnecessary misunderstandings and potential conflicts. Next slide. I just look briefly at some tips. Very briefly, I really want to rush this so that we can move to morning. When you are online, even as a facilitator, you have power. As a teacher, we have power. In a class, our class has to be democratic. That is where we share power even with our learners. As a facilitator, you have no right to be impolite to your students. You have no right to be impolite to people. You talk with respect. I'm an adult educator. And as an adult educator, I deal with elderly people, but not all the time. Some of them are very young. They are young, but in a non-formal program. And because they are there, they are considered as adults. So you don't talk to them anyhow. And this level of people we teach, a lot of them are, some of them, it's just that the demographics has changed now. Yeah, but they are mature learners, like you said. So we have to them with a lot of respect. Even when they are doing what is wrong, there's a way to correct people and correct them politely. Thank you. We have to be professional. We use professional language when you are teaching. Teaching is all about relationship. You like a course because of a particular lecturer. And how do you endear yourself to a learner? One of it is by knowing who they are and their names. And one of the ways to present yourself in a professional way is to know their names. The virtual space is a place that is aloof. It's like you're living in America or Britain. The person you greet now in the class, you laugh together, see them outside, they'll pass by you. You are in Nigeria, you say, hello, they won't answer you, you'll be going. It is an aloof environment. They need support to be able to do well. So you have to factor that in. When you relate to them in personal pronouns, it makes them feel part of the learning. It makes them feel part of the classroom. You are creating a community of learners. It is the facilitator that actually creates the environment. The environment you create will affect other learners. That is facilitator to learner, learner to learner, learner to facilitator. You create an environment that is non-threatening. An environment where they know that you are a master of the subject matter you are there to teach. It does not mean that you are bossing it down on them. You facilitate the interaction, but at the same time, you create an environment where a learner another learner. I tell people the thing I read about dropping out early, that is attrition. What causes attrition? Attrition does not start from low scores. Attrition comes from inability to integrate into a class. If I'm able to integrate, Elijah, please, I have this problem. Please, can you help me with it? That is an environment that is non-threatening. I can ask another person. Thank you. Use the right language. We've said that. No coerced jokes. Let us use the right. There's nothing wrong in being in cracking jokes in class. As a matter of fact, it is a reminder. It's like a cue. That's what we call it. You remember the one that made you laugh in class. That teacher said this. And when he was saying it, this was the joke that backed it up. Then you remember. But we have to be careful the kind of jokes, not the one that we hurt people emotionally. So we have to be careful how we use our words. Then we should practice empathy. Put yourself in the, as a matter of fact, if you practice empathy, some of the things you do will be doing them better. Because you are imagining that person's situation and you put yourself in it. If you are in this situation, what will happen to me? So how will you react? What will I do in this situation? When we do that, it will help us to do our work better. Then check for grammar mistakes. So before you publish, I tell people there are no models in this country. On television, you see the subtitling. Subtitling that you see on television or on your video, they are supposed to help people learn the language better. But these days, you will see all sorts. It should not happen in an academic environment. Before you push your content out, text that will be read by your learners, you ought to have scrutinized text properly before you publish it. Then we have to dress appropriately. Let me give this example. I remember when we were having our emergency remote teaching. Of course, these ladies in my class, I'll be teaching them, I guess, on Zoom. And two of them in particular, they will wear bra in my class. That is for learners. But even as a facilitator, as a lecturer, as a facilitator, you need to dress appropriately. You cannot expect that and you yourself are not appropriately dressed. If it is traditional, wear it properly, do your cut. The shokoto may not be there, but the buba that will be seen and the fila that will be seen, I think we should make sure that they are visible. You dress properly. Then we need to set ground rules. If you don't set ground rules, you will see different things. Before you even start your class at all, let's say, for example, Zoom. Tell them how they should appear. At this time, you enter my class. Fine. When you are coming, this is how you should be dressed. Mute yourself when you come in. When you notice that the bandwidth is rather very low, you tell them, put off your video. There should be certain ground rules before you start at all. So these are some of the tips that I think I want to talk to. Then 5 minutes. Let's just quickly discuss this. Discussion is a discussion. You have observed some of your learners have their videos on during an online class, and most of them are inappropriately dressed. What do you do? What are you going to do? How do you address this? Remember, I said the way you speak to them, you don't talk to them anyhow. You address them respectfully. Somebody should please help us. How do you correct? For a man, how do you address that?
Well, for a man, I could call the name of the person and politely tell him that, this dress or this shirt you are putting on, I don't think it is properly. Can you please try and redress?
Thank you. Dr.
Well, what I just want to add is this. In some instances, if the student is in your department, that means you know the student very well. Now, at this point, I was in the class, and this lady happened to be my project student with a bad top, showing all her cleavage and whatever. I just say, hello, come here, quietly. I'm giving you 15 minutes. Go to Queen's Hall, change this your top, and get back. Because as the class was going, the student would look at my face, look at her face, and then back. I say, something is wrong. This lady did not take 10 minutes, and she came back well dressed.
Thank you very much. That is in a face-to-face class. So I'm talking about a live session now. Prof, that is absolutely right, what you have done. Okay.
I experienced it in the last 100 level distant her. So what I normally do is that I'll go to a chat, the private, then I'll just type the name, private chat the person.
That is being discreet about it. It is when that person does not now do what you want to do that you now call out the person.
Also, you can mute the video, and then everybody shuts down.
That's another one. So these are subtle ways of correcting them.
Just in addition to what Prof said, well, if you send a chat, it's likely the person may not see it because the person will be focusing on what is on the screen. So you may call out the name that, please check your chats, something like that.
So that's good. So you may call out the person, Mickey Mouse, please check your chat. Because sometimes you do not even go there. Some people will not even see it. The final one, the last one. Next person.
Thank you, ma. All the suggestions were good. But mine is that we as the facilitators or lecturers, we must first check our mood. Because by the time that whatever is being posted, your mood may not be good. And anything you say at that particular time may not augur well. So first check your mood before you can then correct whoever is at fault. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma. It's true. Because sometimes you look at, when you see such a person, you say, are you all right? So we should be professional about it. So we can chat the person, call out the person, privately. And if it's somebody we know, then so let's go to quality assurance. Now, let's talk about quality assurance. What do we mean by quality assurance? Anybody? Dr. Akinyoye, quality assurance, what do we mean by that?
Well, it's a way of maintaining the standards, the rules, to ensure that things are done according to laid down rules and regulation and expected standards.
That is, it's a process of maintaining standard to ensure that what we set out to achieve, we achieve it and maintain it. And that's where this morning matter will come in. Next slide. It's a process that assesses the quality of a product or service to ensure it meets learners and stakeholders' expectations. This involves 1, testing, 2, monitoring, 3, improving deliverables. Now, there are certain things we are going to talk about here, which has to do to make sure that we are going to get what we are investing in. We want our money to be efficient. That is, what we put in, we get back. And, shifting online, 70% is a major shift. We have reviewed considerably what our honorariums, we have moved from what we used to pay to a new regime of payment. And we went to 17, no, maybe about 14 or 13. We had to stop. We got to social sciences. But from now, it should be projected. For our online interaction, course guides, because as you give us our course guide, We will also pay you something from that from now. I mean, from this workshop. Continuous assessment and examinations with rubrics and marking guide. Prof, I'll give you this before you go. We based it on number of learners. We have what we call adjunct professors in the professorial cadre, and we have adjunct lecturers, and we have facilitators. I will explain to us. Henceforth, if you are teaching on 1 to 25 learners, we don't say students, they are not students. In ODL, they are called learners, and you are called facilitators, right? So 1 to 25 will pay 80,000. Then we'll pay to adjunct lecturer or facilitator 60,000. Now, the adjunct lecturer is you. But in case you cannot teach your course, your department has to come up with somebody who can replace you, maybe from another university, or someone who is well qualified and can represent the department well. Now, 26 to 50 learners will have 90 for professorial cadre, 70 for the other. We have 51 to 150. That is 100,000 for adjunct professor. This is the old one, sorry. It's even higher in the new one. We've adjusted it because we have 51 to 100, which is about 100,000. Then 101 to 150 is about 120,000 for adjunct professor. Let him project it. This is the old one. It's not even new. So for 201 and above, we have 175,000 for professorial cadre, and for adjunct lecturer, we have 150,000. For 251 and above, we have 200,000 professorial cadre and 180 for the rest. Now, for your physical interaction, when you come here face to face, we'll pay 30,000. Then for the professorial cadre, then for the next cadre, we'll pay 25,000. Okay? I can talk to it. So we also have data allowance per course. So if you are teaching 5 courses, we give you 15, 15, 15, 15 in 5 places per course. Please scroll it down. They are going up. Also, we have what we call DLC webinar / excess workload. That is based on the number of students. If you have 1,000 students, 1,000 students will pay you 200 naira per learner. Apart from this, if you have a large enrollment for your course. Then for the written script, we'll pay you per script 150 naira per learner. Now, for certain CBT, 120 CBT questions, and that should be in 2 years, not once, we'll pay you 25,000. But the 25,000 that we are paying you is split into 2. We'll give you the first year, give you 12,500. The next one will give you 12,500. Then setting of written questions is 10,000 per course. Now, to arrive at this was a tug of war, because it is also from us that management runs the whole university. But our expectation is that once the university begins to collect fees, there should be less dependency on DLC. We have prioritized the welfare of our facilitators. We are doing the work, then we should be able to also, from what I have seen from this is the front end. But from the back end, some people that were earning about maybe getting 260 moved to about 400 and something, 500. That's what I saw from the back end, because we had to do the calculation per course, 884 courses. We had to do it that way. So we saw what everybody, and we know the total of how much we are paying for facilitation. Now, from what we have from now, it is no longer business as usual. We won't have teaching by proxy any longer. You just see somebody that you know, go and teach DLC course for me. Because that's the way our colleagues treat us. That is the truth. Because you feel, well, it's a DLC. But your regular salary, you work there. But for DLC, they say, Shebi, it's DLC. Even our results are delayed because people feel, well, it's DLC. We will do right by you. So we expect that you also will be not magnanimous. You'll be, I don't want to use reasonable because Agbalagba ni mo ń bá sọ̀rọ̀. You'll be kind enough to also do well right by us. So on the two ends, like the data we are giving you now, we are subscribing to Glow. We are subscribing to Glow. 10 terabytes is what we are buying for 3 months. Our learners will come on our platform at no cost to them. So as you have your data allowance, they also have, with their own password, they will enter the platform and they can do, only our platform is free. That is, the data works only on DLC portal. Once they're outside of it, they cannot be browsing and use our data. It's not possible. That thing is guarded. So it's only on our LMS. So you will have our learners coming online now. And we want to appeal to you that as teachers and as good teachers that you are and teachers, please use every ingenuity that you know to also bring them online. Sure that when they know that they are being taught online, a lot of them will begin to show up. Now, the first thing you see next from us is that we are going to draw our online class schedule. This is a sample, and we'll send it to you virtually, and that is why you need to register with your UIDLC emails to make things easy for us. If you don't have a dedicated email as of this afternoon, before you leave, please, there are people, we have help desks everywhere. Please make sure you have one. But we are going to send it to departments. And we are looking at 15 hours of online teaching using on our platform. So all this will be scheduled and sent to both facilitators and to our learners. But we will let you see all the lecture links will be put there. So when they click, they can easily enter into the class. But we are going to send it to you so that there can be a harmonization of what happens to you on campus and what happens here. The way we normally do timetable, you know, we'll normally ask, Professor Akinola, the way we do it, and we'll ask you, and you say, this one is not there, that one is the same way we want to go ahead. But for online class, we'll produce our virtual class schedule and we'll send it to you. Something like this. It will look something like this. We'll specify date, we'll specify time, specify course. Yes, sir.
Is there a way by which you can reorganize ourselves in such a way that we are not going to have clashes? So please, because the way you are talking now.
No, before we publish at all, we will have to work with departments. That was why I raised it with Professor Akinola. We normally will send to you, is this okay? Is this time okay? Because we have to factor in how our students, our students' time, your own time, because we also know you are very busy where? On campus too. So all that will be taken care of. Now, to make sure, like we talked about quality assurance, that what you are doing, we are going to be monitoring. And we have an imperfect monitoring structure as of today, but we are going to perfect it. Like I said no more teaching by proxy. Because one, you'll be using the webinar. When you are using the webinar is like Zoom, except that according to Mr. Fakoya, it is cheaper than Zoom. They told me it is 60 megabytes per hour. Now, true or lie? Mr. Fakoya? 60 megabytes. So I was told. Is it 60 megabytes per hour? Okay, because Zoom per hour is 800 MB from what I heard. I'm not a computer person, but that was what I was told. So with your webinar, as you begin to teach, The webinar automatically records your class. So we have that as a tool. That is our monitoring tools. One of it is the webinar. Two is the online activities you engage in. Like he was talking about forums the other day. On forum, on your wiki, if you have blogs, whatever you do, we'll be monitoring. You just be wondering, how will we do it? I said we have an imperfect monitoring structure, but we're still perfecting it and we'll work it out. Then also feedback from learners. If our learners tell us that, yes, you are in class, the advantage of having that is that it keeps everybody on, it keeps you on your toes. You update the content you are teaching. It's not as it was yesterday, so it is today, and so shall it ever be. Some people are still teaching from notes that were given them 28, 29, 30 years ago when they graduated from this university. I'm very sure if the university were to do this on a regular basis, a lot of people will be out of job. Believe you me. Okay. Believe you me. Do that in those other climes. Your position has a tenure. And some of them, they renew contracts. So because you want to keep coming back, you don't want to be out of job. You're on your toes. You attend conferences. You update your course guide. It is not that it is the same thing that you taught 4 years ago. There are current things happening. It is expected that these things will be uploaded. We'll look at your course guide. We'll look at what you taught. Use your course guide. Compare it to what you did on your webinar. Now, feedback from learners, I just mentioned that. Then student results as you submit it. We're even working on automating our payment, but we are not perfect with it for now. We're working on it. So that once you submit, you apply for your money online, your money gets to you. We have nothing to do with it. But now the bursar is also coming to do something, help us how to make our claims. Because a lot of complaints come from people. My money is not paid. But if you ask people indeed, did they fill their forms properly? They won't. If it is ordinary 3, instead of 5, you put 3. The system, what do they call it? This their payment platform. The one that has one name with demon behind it, it will reject it. So we are going to do that so that we can have seamless payment system, and at least the pressure will be lessened on us. Now, for our monitoring team that we have perfected, for now, we have the first layer, and that is the core management. The core management is the director, the 2 deputy directors. We have the deputy bursar, the deputy registrar. Any of us can go online. I have my password. I have my privileges. I can see what's going on. I can see what is going on. For e-tutors, activities they engage in, it's all right. Activities that they engage in online. Who is an e-tutor here? Please, if you're an e-tutor and you have paid, please tell them what happens to you. How you go about your claims.
Good afternoon, sirs. As e-tutors, we have e-tutor supervisor that always monitors each activity we do online. So at the end of the semester, we will print out, there is a form, a template that you attach everything, all the tools you use, everything will appear. Even online, if you enter the online today, the date will appear. If it's the course that was supposed to start maybe last month, if you are just entering today, everything will show. It's like a photo. So there is quality assurance to see that you have really worked for what you have.
Thank you very much. I'm very grateful for that. Everything, there's a template you fill. And you know, when they fill it, the course facilitator himself or herself will go through, sign. The HOD of the department should sign. Then it will to the bursary. The bursary will do due diligence, send it to audit. And that's why sometimes it takes time. When you say it takes time, then all the claims you make, we take it to the vice chancellor. He is the chief financial officer of the university. But with the system and people watching over it, the accountability system, if it is rightly in place, things should go well. So sometimes the vice chancellor has traveled to UK. So we wait until the vice chancellor comes. So these are reasons for delays that you experience. It's not with us sometimes. And you know, Oga looks at it. When he looks at it, anything is wrong, he will comment on it. So possibly you have to act on it before they send it back to him. So that's why we have it for now. But we are trying to see how we can better automate it so that it will be seamless. As things improve, the remunerations will also improve. So not only that, I hope you know that also we're going to be paying, is it 50%? There's a particular amount that we have set aside. Students have begun to pay it. That's 10,000. So if in social work, they have 1,000 students. So out of the 10,000, it is 50%. They will pay them 1,000 pay 1,000 in 5,000 in 1,000 places. So that money goes to their department. We just did that. And that money is not just departmental share. No. That is for colleagues, for conferences, for what else do we do? Travels, whatever. You tell us some of the tools you need. When you told us that you need, what do you call them? Illustrators. The illustrators are with me in my office now. They just brought them. So that when you are teaching mathematics, your students can actually see you work it. And they can also copy and follow. So gradually we'll get there. Thank you very much, everybody. It's been a wonderful afternoon.